Welcome to the podcast, guys. I'm here with Don, David, and Jimmy.
Yes, cut to me.
Let's do it again. Let's do that again.
Today we're talking about comic book movies, or
Movies.
comic book movies, or just movies in general.
All things comic books.
All things comic book.
All things movies.
So
all things cool.
we're just gonna geek out today,
Hello.
essentially.
Yeah.
So what do you guys think about this
Geek
whole
out.
the new influx of movies in relation to comic books, like adaptations and all that kind of stuff?
It's become so popular. It's the new Western,
Yeah.
and it's got subgenres now. And it's just taken off.
Because
I'm sad that David and Margaret are retiring.
Yeah, I'm
That's off topic.
Oh,
Yeah.
but no, because we were talking about like movies like Iron Man and
I think the comic books now are the new fairy tales. Like we used to tell fairy tales to kids.
But they're based off old fairy tales.
Yeah.
They're
It's
based
like it's what we want to hear nowadays. I mean, before it was you'd tell the story about the Three Little Pigs and the kids would be like, "Oh my goodness,
yeah,
this is an awesome story." Now it's Captain America and the Avengers.
and they're based in our contemporary world.
Yeah, you know what I mean.
Captain America's been brought back from
Yeah,
World War II and put into our world now.
and that's what kids are
And,
getting excited about now.
obviously it's a good thing if to bring this stuff to a new generation, right? Like a lot of people, like including myself, bag on say Michael Bay, for instance, for touching Transformers and Ninja Turtles and all that kind of
What
stuff.
did he do to Megatron?
Bayformers.
Yeah, but I don't know. Like obviously, I'm a fan of like, G1 Transformers and stuff, and I refuse to buy any toys that are like Transformers toys that have anything to do with the movies, just because they like what the hell did you do to the Transformers? So I don't know. But anyway, so like back to comic book movies. I mean, like you've got Marvel, DC.
They broke through in doing it how they want it.
Yeah.
Because
They're
they're in line with comic books is just like it works visually, and to take it and then make it into a movie, it's not that far from like getting it there, as opposed to like novels where you have to adapt it, you have to write it into like screenplay.
Yeah.
Like that's a lot further away.
Yeah.
But comic books is so ready to go, and then because they've
all
got the
storyboarded
source
for you
material
already.
so well, they're so close to the source material for them to do it right in the movies and keep it going and keep it rolling. They've set it up initially, and everyone's trying to I feel like everyone's trying to catch up.
Being a fan of the Spider-Man franchise, I always thought that Spider-Man would be the ace in the hole, but it turns out it's Wolverine. And Wolverine's a favorite of mine growing up as well, but for some reason, with all the X-Men movies that have come out, like it's Wolverine, and then Spider-Man's like it's their third reboot now or something, and so I don't know what's going on.
I think it also comes down to who they cast. Like we were talking earlier about casting. Hugh Jackman they cast that well for like him to be Wolverine. Tobey Maguire as Spider-Man.
I thought that was excellent.
Yeah.
You think so?
Yeah. The way...
It's kind of unorthodox as well, because Hugh Jackman does not look like Wolverine from the comics
He's
initially.
short. He's a short, stumpy guy in the
Because
comics.
Hugh Jackman's tall, and,
Yeah.
and lanky at the time.
Yeah.
And then he started putting on some muscle, but he's still way taller than Wolverine should
Yeah.
be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, but I thought he was a good cast for it. But I didn't think
He did amazing
Tobey.
things with it,
Yeah, I didn't think Tobey Maguire was good for Spider-Man.
Who was the one that played the current? Who's the one that played the
Andrew
current?
Garfield.
Andrew Garfield.
Yeah.
The Social Network guy, right?
Yeah.
What do you think? I think he was okay. I think he was alright.
I think he was better than Tobey Maguire.
It
I actually
depends
like both
which
of them.
iteration of Spider-Man.
You know what? The Amazing or the
Because Andrew Garfield is the ultimate.
Yeah,
It's based on the ultimate Spider-Man.
But I think he looks a lot more like Spider-Man from any comic
Yeah.
line.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Than
I'm
Tobey.
waiting for the spiderweb armpit hair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The
From the comics.
glider hair. Yeah.
Speaking of casting, right? We were talking about how I think I keep saying Harry Connick Jr.
Robert Downey.
Robert Downey Jr. Right?
Yeah.
As Iron Man, spot on. All right. I mean, Hugh Jackman. Yes, you know, like you can see he pulls it off. Who else?
Nick Fury.
Nick Fury. Nick
Yes.
Fury. That's Nick Fury,
Yeah.
right? And we were talking about Wonder Woman, and I think that's one of the few.
I think she's too scrawny.
Yeah.
Wonder Woman's supposed to be fit and athletic
I also think
because she's an Amazon.
yeah, part of these things is like they're trying to get the right actor, and I mean in regards to like Guardians of the Galaxy, what's his name? Chris.
Zoe. What's her name?
Chris Pratt
Yeah, Chris Pratt.
was
Alright.
not
Tommy.
in shape for it, but he got into shape.
Yeah,
I think that's even part of the contract that they've got
they've got to
Okay.
get in shape.
get into shape.
But I mean, with all these movies, you look at it. There's always a name attached to these movies to sell it. Like Chris Pratt wasn't really the name. It was
Yeah.
what's her name? The green chick.
Zoe Saldana.
Zoe Saldana. She was the name, right?
Avatar.
Yeah, from Avatar. She's the name attached to the project, right?
trusted you.
Yeah, and see with I think with and I think with in terms of Wonder Woman, they've got this guy. I don't remember her name. Like
Gal Gadot.
yeah,
Is her real name.
I mean, look, she's
Fast
a
and Furious.
fine ass chick,
Yeah.
right? But I think she's
Okay.
also because of the Fast and the Furious franchise, they've got her on board because
Yeah.
they need a name attached. Like, and traditionally, like in the last say 20 years or so, Wonder Woman isn't really a very popular.
Wonder Woman
Did
is
you watch
an interesting one.
the old, very old series? I think it was the 80s.
Because Wonder Woman
Yeah,
is
yeah. I grew up
supposed
on
to
watching
be,
the reruns on TV.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah.
I think Wonder Woman's supposed to be the prominent female superhero. So
She is supposed
like
to be.
she's supposed to represent like the women.
So what,
she's
she's
one,
like-
she's
they're
one of
bringing her
the
out
she's
now.
one of the DC Trinity, which is Superman, Batman, and Wonder
Batman.
Woman.
Yeah.
I'm wearing Wonder Woman underwear right now.
Excellent.
No, but
Why?
like, I think a lot of people are up in arms about Gal Gadot being Wonder Woman because we've seen Wonder Woman. She's supposed to be an Amazon.
She's supposed to look like that. This is the part where you edit that in.
Yeah.
Here's where you see the picture.
I think that's in the shot,
But-
isn't it?
Is it? No.
Somewhere. Oh, in that shot, maybe. I don't know.
But some
That's
that's
there.
I can't see it.
In
Oh,
the
wait,
wide,
no.
you'll see it.
But someone like an Amazon would be someone like, I don't know if you guys would get
Gal
this
Gadot
reference.
is like
You know, do you remember that wrestler woman China?
China, yeah. She's
Ah,
a porn, isn't she?
that's too big.
That's too big.
But
That's too big.
that's what like because she'd be like this muscly.
She
Not-
has
not-
shoulders.
That
She does have shoulders.
that's
Wonder
way
Woman.
too. That's She-Hulk, man. That's She-Hulk.
But even She-Hulk in the comics is a lot
Right.
more feminine than.
No, who's that MMA fighter? The not China, the MMA fighter, the chick.
She was
been
in
a few-
Expendables, right?
Ronda.
Yeah.
She's,
Rousey.
she's dating
Ronda Rousey.
Yeah, that's
Ronda
it.
Rousey. I think.
No, maybe not. Even she's too big. Like,
No,
I can't remember
don't
her
think she
name.
is.
The one that was in Haywire.
she's dating.
yeah, that's the one.
Yeah,
That's
she
the
would have
chick.
been.
Is that's not Ronda Rousey? Is
No, Ronda Rousey's blonde.
She's dating. the
She's
Superman
currently in UFC.
actor.
Gina
Oh,
Carano.
but the-
Gina
Yeah,
Carano
that's it,
is hot. Gina
Yeah.
Carano is hot.
And
That would
she
be
can pull it
cool.
off.
She could
That-
potentially.
that
She
would've
has
been
the Wonder Woman
Interesting,
curves.
because she's dating
But the problem is
Man of
she's-
Steel actor.
Is she?
She's
she?
dating
What?
him.
Who?
Gina Carano's
He's
dating.
what's his name? From Man of Steel.
Oh, Harry.
Henry Cavill.
Henry Cavill.
Oh,
Yeah.
beautiful.
No way, really?
Yeah, they're dating.
Wow.
That's excellent.
That would be funny if she had
What do you think
landed
the
the
gym
role.
sessions are like with them two?
Excellent. I would roll with her.
But yeah, like I don't know. I think I'm willing to give Gal Gadot a chance on.
But
on this film.
Gal Gadot is
Yeah.
like Victoria's Secret model. We need an MMA fighter.
But you know what? Like, this is a very fanboy thing to sort of like whenever they announce someone, you complain about it, right? But I think I didn't see. I'm terrible with names today. Captain America. I didn't really see him.
Chris Evans.
Chris Evans.
Yeah.
I didn't see him
After
as
Human
Captain
Human
America.
Torch.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
After Human Torch, he's a bit of a clown. You know, that's
Yeah.
clown. But for some reason, he pulls it off. You know, and it's not just the physique. He pulls it off,
And he's still pulling it off.
and he's still
I
pulling it
think-
off. you know?
Initially, I wasn't sure about Robert Downey Jr. either. Because
Yeah.
I read Extremis, and in Extremis, he looked like Tom Cruise. So I was expecting Tom Cruise.
Yeah.
And seeing Tom Cruise in all the Mission Impossible movies, the way he designed his character,
Yeah.
and that I was expecting a more serious Tony Stark
Yeah.
and a more brooding Tony Stark because of his alcoholism. But
Yeah.
what Downey Jr. did was excellent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, apparently, they were supposed to cast Tom Cruise as
Yeah.
Iron Man.
He's really short.
He's not that short. He's my height. Come on.
He could have been like on stilts anyway because he's in a suit. So
Yeah. Well, Downey Jr. is the same height as Tom Cruise, isn't he?
no, I
I
think
know.
he's taller.
Really? He's like what, 5'9"
Tom
or
Cruise is
something?
quite short.
He's not that short. He's like what, 5'7", right?
I don't know.
I
He's really short.
don't know.
Like he's not that. Everyone says he's short, but it's like a very Napoleon thing. With just like, you know, Napoleon was apparently short, but he wasn't. He's like, it was 5'7" as well, you know. So
Urban myth.
yeah.
Maybe he's not short.
I heard he was
Asian
5 foot. I heard he was 5 foot flat.
But no, but Tom Cruise wouldn't have pulled it off. I don't think he would have pulled it off. He would have been
Yeah,
this
we got
brooding-
It would have been a different Iron Man.
Yeah.
We'll have to wait and see because when Michael Keaton was cast as Batman, he was a comedian.
Yeah.
And there were heaps of complaints about him too. And then Heath Ledger,
Yeah.
coming
check
from
them.
Brokeback Mountain,
Yeah.
you know, you wouldn't expect him to pull it off.
Yeah.
It really comes down to the actor or
Daniel
actress.
Craig.
I,
As
I,
Bond?
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think
I thought
I
he
think
smashed it.
I think
Yeah.
it comes down to writing and direction, really, like whether the actor can pull it off. But it comes down because
And,
like
and how well the director works with the actor.
Man of Steel,
Yeah.
right? Like the problem, I really like Man of Steel, but the problem with Man of Steel is we were talking about this before. There's no, we didn't feel like he was indestructible. Like jets were crashing into him; they were just totally indestructible. It was exhausting to watch. But then you watch Winter Soldier, and that was riveting the whole time because you think, fuck, something could really happen to the guy, you know? Because like he was actually in imminent danger, and you
see him
felt,
get hurt.
Yeah, you see him get hurt, and you felt, you know, it built the tension, and you felt it. You know, really felt it. Whereas Man of Steel, or like, it just you can't kill him. Or like, there's no danger, and I think that's the problem with inherent problem with Superman.
Zod could have snapped his neck.
Yeah, oh, yeah, true. But
They should have shown,
Spoiler alert to everyone who hasn't seen Man of Steel.
they should have shown Zod being far more superior than what they did.
yeah,
You know, to
He's
in
just
the
a
fights,
farm boy.
Zod should have tortured him,
yeah,
like put him in agony, so that the audience could relate to him.
there needed to be a dark moment,
Yeah.
a Dark Knight
Yeah.
moment. Whereas, like, you know how Bane really broke Batman's back,
Yeah.
which was fantastic. I mean, it was in the source material, but it was awesome because you felt like, fuck, this guy could really wreck Batman, you know. And then you felt
I didn't
sort of like
feel
danger.
that it came across as severe in that movie.
I think like you
'cause-
could like destroy Batman, but no matter what happens, he comes back. Cause
Yeah.
because he's Batman.
Because he's Batman. Like they put him in a hole and he was there for months, and then all of a sudden he's back in Gotham.
How did he go back?
How do you do that?
Yeah,
I'm Batman.
I can let that slide though because because Nolan does a very good job in that he knows what to cut out and what to because like in terms of narrative storytelling, it's not always what you put in; it's what you leave out. You know, like I don't know. Have you guys seen Interstellar?
Not yet.
Not
Not
yet.
yet.
Oh, I
Don't
won't
spoil
ruin it
it.
for you then. Oh, damn! I really want to talk about that because
That's
it's
next.
shit. He leaves out.
Couple more podcasts later, we'll talk about. it.
Yeah,
This comic book movie.
yeah, true. But
There's a lot to Interstellar because they put out this. I think it was a National Geographic documentary with Matthew McConaughey narrating it, talking about the physics behind
It's
Interstellar. So there's a lot
Yeah.
of like things that they could take it, and I understand what you're saying that in a movie they could go on and
Yeah.
map out the whole idea of theoretical physics and string theory and black holes and quasars and all this stuff, but
You don't need to. It's
Yeah,
science fiction.
It's
Yeah.
an
You
interesting.
just have to have something to
But
ground it in reality.
Yes, yeah,
and then
but
take
yeah.
liberties with science. Because it's science fiction. The key word there is fiction, you know? So,
on that topic, what did you guys think of Lucy?
I've not seen it yet.
You haven't seen it yet?
Oh, man, I think Luke Besson's really dropped the ball lately.
It started off interesting because they had in the beginning of it you see Scarlett Johansson.
I was so looking forward to that movie.
Me too. The best part of that movie was the trailer.
I'm still looking forward to it.
Yeah, I was looking for it.
But
Scarlett,
the beginning of it was interesting because they had a situation and it kept flashing to like real.
It was almost like the movie was supposed to be 3 hours long, but then because
They
of
made it 1
studio
hour and a
notes, and then they had to make it 1.5 because the way it was cut, it was like you could tell there was so much more that could have been in it
Yeah.
to really make it tight. You know,
It didn't. Yeah, they didn't flesh out
Yeah.
her character
It
more.
was just, I don't know. It was all over the place,
I don't. Oh, man.
and it's really got to do with.
I really
editing,
want to talk about it right
Yeah,
now.
I want to talk about. I don't ruin it for these two.
The way you're describing it is how I felt of the first Captain America.
Yeah,
I thought the first half of the movie was brilliant how they set him up.
And
Yeah,
the last
then
half was.
and the last half was like, oh,
very
it's just
like
like
montages.
40 minutes out.
montagey.
Montages.
Yeah,
See, Winter Soldier, I liked what they did with it because it was like a spy movie. It was a James
Yeah.
Bond movie.
Yeah.
And if they get the, if
I
they
don't
get
like
that genre
Scarlett
right,
Johansson's hair in that.
you don't like her hair in it
ScarJo,
Too straight.
ScarJo's here
Yeah.
because it was curly in the first
Yeah.
Avengers.
In Iron Man,
Iron
it was
Man,
curly,
yeah.
and she
because it was
looked
short. She cut it for Lucy. That's why,
hot. She
right?
looked hot, and then it was just straight, and then it didn't look good. But now it's back to curly for Avengers 2.
Hear that, ScarJo?
Yes.
Grow your hair,
Curly
make it
hair.
curly, please. For Jimmy.
Yes.
But yeah, I think it's about if they get the genre right for that particular story,
Yeah,
then it works. That's why Winter Soldier worked so well because it played out like a spy movie, wrapped in a Marvel kind of superhero wrapping. And I was sitting there going, "This is amazing."
yeah.
This is
But
what I love.
like you guys would know more than me. How much of that is sort of true? How much of that is canon? In terms of sort of Captain America mythos, and then how, like, the Winter Soldier. Like, I never read the comics, so but then it was kind of predictable in the beginning because I knew, Bucky's got to be Winter Soldier. I guarantee you.
They set it up.
Because of the,
Yeah.
They
because of
set it
the-
up.
Yeah,
They set it up for him to be.
yeah.
And I know. And
That's in the comics, obviously, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
But didn't they do it in the first one?
They did. He was in the laboratory when Steve Rogers went to rescue him, and they were doing experiments, but they didn't answer that question. What experiments did they do to him?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was kind of half expected. That's what I kind of like about what Marvel do. They'll set up for the next one. And you guys were saying
and they.
I think Sony's done
respect
that
the fans.
pretty poorly with
Yeah.
the Spider-Man franchise. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, with marketing, the Marvel versus DC thing. Like, I don't think DC's done anything like that, right? In terms of like the Justice League or.
They're like kind of Easter eggs I found were really weird. Like they'll
Easter
have
eggs.
like a Luther like sign or like a Wayne Industries sign.
very
and
obscure.
that's it. Very obscure.
Very obscure,
Yeah.
They don't like build something like Marvel has like in
Yeah,
terms
where
of
they
the
create like a
stories.
universe, right?
Yeah.
You guys were saying before about Sam Jackson being in the Iron Man movie. That was a secret.
Oh, you
you guys
remind me about that scene. Like, what I
Yeah.
can't remember. It was a while ago. You talking about the end credit scenes?
So
Yeah.
yeah, when they were making Iron Man, like we were talking about, where did the plan start? Like
Yeah.
when
When did they start
have
that
it all
ball
along,
rolling?
or-
Yeah.
But basically, like it actually rolled after the first Iron Man movie.
The first Iron Man was the
Um,
first Marvel Studio movie, so they wanted to see what they could do.
Yeah.
They made the first movie, and let's see if they can continue it with other movies. So I don't think it was planned. What's his name? That dude, the producer guy.
John
Kevin
Favreau.
Feige.
Yeah, Feige.
Yeah,
Wasn't John Favreau the one from the first
Oh, he's
one?
the director.
he's
Oh,
the director.
Right.
But I think he's part of the producers as well. He's still with Marvel.
He produced
Yeah.
the third movie.
Yep.
Yeah, but he didn't direct.
Yep. So basically, they got.
And which is a mistake. I feel.
I think what happened was Samuel L. Jackson's
Agent.
agent said, "Oh, do you guys have anything at Marvel for Sam?" And they said, "Oh, this was about like they finished the first Iron Man movie, and they thought, oh, would be interesting if we put a cameo in there of Nick Fury." So then they threw Nick Fury in at the end. It was all top secret. They drove Sam Jackson into the studio. He got out of the van, filmed the scene, back into the van, and went off. So obviously no one took photos.
So there was
or
no
whatnot.
leaks or anything, right?
No leaks. And then when it showed, the fan reaction just blew up. Like are these movies going to be linked, sort of thing? And then from there they just said, "Yep, let's do it.
Wow.
Let's start setting up Avengers."
I like how because the comic book universe is so intertwined. So there's this massive mesh of stories and characters and things like that. And I like how they've done that with the Marvel Cinematic Universe. They've even spilled it over into like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I thought it was a bit of a stretch that they brought Clark Gregg Agent Coulson back to be in Agents of Shield, but then I see
Is he dead?
He died in.
have
in
you guys been
Avengers.
watching it? You guys been watching it?
I haven't
No,
seen any
I
episodes.
saw,
Okay.
I saw half an episode.
Yeah,
and
okay.
It looked too much
But-
like Knight Rider 2000. And I stopped watching.
The basic premise of it is that Coulson actually did die in Avengers, but they brought him back using alien
The Lazarus
DNA. no, that's Batman.
Yes.
They brought him back using alien DNA, and one of the aliens
DNA.
that they're using look like the Krees from Guardians of the Galaxy.
Whoa.
So they're using it to tie into everything. See, the thing about that is, it's almost like you can guess what's going to happen in the movies from watching Agents of Shield.
Oh, okay, so it's all intertwined.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
that's what I like about it, because the fans love.
So is the TV show produced by Marvel Studios?
I think so.
They are.
Joss Whedon's
Yeah.
involved.
Yep.
I think.
Yeah.
Yep.
I don't know. Have you seen the costume designs?
Not yet, but they're probably not that great.
Jimmy hates Joss Whedon's costume designs. Hear that, Joss?
Oh, for you know about for
Stop.
Captain America, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So what do you think there's a problem with?
Looks too girly.
You're talking about the first movie, right?
No,
Even
in Avengers.
Oh, in Avengers.
Yeah. The first movie was excellent.
Oh, okay.
His battle costume.
Yeah. The
His-
padded one, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Padded. It looks
Yeah,
it looks
that
like an
one's
army uniform.
Yeah.
So because I think they had to redesign it because it didn't really work with everybody else's costume, because you got ScarJo, and she's got this like skin tight uniform.
That's where she's supposed to be.
Yeah, but then you've got
She's a spy. She's a
yeah,
sexy
but
spy.
I think in terms of production design, it would stick out like a sore thumb. Like it didn't.
But it worked
wasn't
in Winter Soldier.
his stealth costume was cool.
Yeah, stealth
That was
costume was
sick.
excellent.
Yeah.
I thought it felt like Captain America's costume from the Avengers looked a little bit like Power Rangers.
Yeah.
Very slimming and like
Yeah.
Chris
It was
has
really
built up
supposed to be
all that
Super
muscle
Soldier,
and then
yeah.
kind
It was
of slims
really-
him down. Sort
It
of.
was really bright compared to everything
Yeah.
else. Like that scene where they're in New York City,
It didn't look
and
practical.
it circles around. It circles around all of them. You see all of these kind of. It's like a faded kind of grey color, and everyone sits in that scene really well. And then there's this
Captain
blue
America.
blob
Yeah.
of Captain America, and you're like, okay, I don't know. I might be showing my age, but there's an Avengers game. It had Captain America, Iron Man, Vision, and Hawkeye, and you could play like the Ninja Turtles
arcade
game.
player.
It was like
Cool.
that. Anyway, if you did a special move, and you had like your friend had say Iron Man, and I was Captain America. Iron Man would do his repulsor blast towards
And then deflect
Captain
it
America,
off
and he'd deflect it off his thing. And when I saw that, I was like, that is the best. I was like, oh. It brought me back to my childhood. I was like, "That's awesome, that's awesome," and I like that they do that in their movies,
Yeah.
and it's why people
It's fan service, right?
yeah it's why people sit and wait until the ends of the credits just to watch a glimpse of whatever is going to be next.
It's Marvel movies are the only ones where it's totally not awkward to sit there.
Yeah.
Like the credits start rolling, people sit in there. You look around, everyone's still sitting there, and you're like, "Oh, cool, sweet."
Yeah.
And then you see the occasional like one or two people stand up, and you're like, "Noobs." Come on, man. Everyone knows by now. But yeah, it's totally fine. Whereas before, people would stand up and walk out, and
Yeah.
it's a total disservice to like all the special effects guys and
Yeah,
all that kind
yeah.
of stuff. That you don't watch the
Like
credits.
people that deserve the credit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or laugh at the ones with funny names.
Yeah. I do that.
But now I watch the credits because you sit there. What else are you gonna do, right? You watch there and go, half the credits roll by, like the standard credits, and then you think that's where you normally think the credits would stop rolling, and then it starts going to the effects house, and you're like one after another, after another, after another, and I'm surprised at how many of them are based in Australia.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, that's awesome because they bring attention to the people
The
that
VFX.
Yeah.
Yeah.
that need that well they deserve that credit, they deserve that praise because they've done so much for the movie. But yeah, I think it's funny the stuff that they do, and it's interesting that you bring up the point about Sam Jackson coming in and being part of our Iron Man, because at the end of Guardians of the Galaxy, have you guys seen it? Tell me you've seen it, right?
Yeah.
of course.
Yeah.
At the end of Guardians of the
Spoiler
Galaxy,
alert.
spoiler alert.
Yes.
I'm pretty sure everyone's seen it. At the end, there's this character from the Marvel Universe called Howard the Duck. And there used to be a movie in the 80s, and he's just like
Yeah, that
Yeah, I
was creepy.
remember
He
that
was
one.
creepy.
Yeah, that was
as
really
It was
Yeah.
creepy, and like I feel like now that you've told me that the Sam Jackson story, it feels like let's see if people like Howard the Duck.
It's always feels like that. Like, what else can we throw in there next?
Yeah,
You know,
and-
so,
But the reaction that they got was like, "Are you serious?" Because I saw it, and I'm like, they can't put that out.
Yeah.
And so if they hear the people's reaction, they go, "Oh no, let's not do that. It's a joke. Just tell everyone it's a
yeah,
joke."
but I think that's a
Yeah.
pretty good. I mean, they obviously didn't plan it, but it's now they can leverage off that. And
It's like the whole world
screen
is a
test
test
stuff
audience.
before they've even made
Yeah.
it. You know?
The other thing that happened is at the end of one of the Blu-ray and DVD, they have like these Marvel one-shots in the special features, and there was one about the Mandarin and
Yeah.
how he finds out that the real Mandarin actually exists. So they're kind of saying that like all the fans were just like he just like destroyed the like arch nemesis of Iron Man,
Yeah.
and then this is kind of like they're kind of correcting the mistake. sort of
You
thing.
see, the only they're out of the Marvel sort of Avengers characters, I think the only one that really doesn't fit in when you look at it from an individual character point of view is that they've created a certain world for Iron Man, right? And it's like realistic. He's in Malibu. He's like this rich playboy, and nothing in the Iron Man movie sort of like would hint to the fact that there's anything sort of like supernatural or anything like that. And then it goes into Avengers, which I think they did a really good job in incorporating him into the Avengers world. But then every time they go back to the Iron Man movies, it's really hard because even now, like when you were talking about the Mandarin, I was thinking in my head, how would they incorporate the Mandarin? Because in the Mandarin, he's like this weird, like first of all, it's a little racist in terms of like he looks like Fu Manchu, and then he's got these mystical rings, right?
Yeah.
And then I thought, hang on,
They're supposed to be Asian.
yeah,
He is supposed to be Asian.
But then I thought, hey,
because he's Mandarin.
yeah, but then I thought, hang on, like there's supernatural elements in the Avengers, so how come it wouldn't work? And then I caught myself thinking that, and I thought it's because they've created this
They
certain
haven't
world.
actually brought in supernatural things yet, but
It's
they're
all
building towards it with
science.
Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
With the lineup like that they're building up, they're bringing like different things in. But at the moment, I think it was a stretch for them to get Thor out
Yeah,
to bring like,
They made it work though.
they made it work,
and
yeah.
they did it. Yeah, they pulled it off, and then that kind of like, and then with Captain America, then they
Thor 2 was excellent.
yeah.
Yeah, I didn't like Paul. Oh, you talking about the dark
the Dark
what's it called?
Dark World.
Yeah.
Dark World.
It was okay. It was okay. I think the third act was a little weak. It's just, like with a lot of these Marvel movies are the same. Like the first two acts is like really good, sets up, and then it gets to the third act, and you're like, oh, okay, that was a little messy. Or these movies, the way they structured them, it really should be 2.5 hours. Like 3-hour movies. They shouldn't be 2-hour movies, or like sort of declutter the second act. Like I don't know.
I feel like we've only been talking about Marvel.
Yeah, I think so.
I look like the biggest DC fanboy right now. Got my Batman hat, my Superman.
I should have worn my
Superman
Batman shirt. Yeah, so like, what about DC? Like, I think DC's Ace in the Hole is Nolan and the Dark Knight series. They haven't really done anything else that I can think of.
Nolan's no longer attached with.
Yeah, but they're leveraging off that because of this whole Superman versus Batman thing, right?
Yeah.
Like, yeah. Who's directing that, by the way?
Zack Snyder.
Zack Snyder.
Snyder. Okay, Snyder might do it alright. Actually,
I'm
I take
hoping-
that back.
I'm hoping
I
he
take
does
that back.
alright.
The
It
Superman.
feels like he has to redeem himself after Man of Steel a bit.
Yeah.
See, oh man, Man of Steel. we were talking about earlier about the character of Superman.
He didn't care. All the people.
Yeah, because in the comics, Superman is supposed to be this Boy Scout. I can't kill. I can't lie. That kind of thing. And in Man of Steel, he's just
Destructo Man.
yeah.
Yeah.
It was Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah.
It felt.
It felt a bit
that's-
Dragon Ball Z.
It felt like the part like when he learns how to fly
Yeah.
is, for me, it's like kind of metaphorical for he's grown into a man and he's learned his lessons.
Yeah.
So by that time he should like kind of be Superman,
Yeah.
like in terms of his morals and saving people and whatnot. But it felt like he was still a boy. That's why that scene when he flies, like it didn't work for me. It didn't pull it off for me.
Because in the but that's sort of paying homage to because the original Superman he doesn't fly, he just jumps. He jumps over buildings.
Yeah.
He's able to leap buildings in a single
Initially,
bound.
he didn't have
Yeah,
his
and
powers
then
weren't
eventually
Could
as
only
powerful
lift
as they
a car.
are now. He could only lift a car or something, and he
Yeah.
could only bound.
yeah.
And then Arnold Schwarzenegger did that.
I think I think
In twins, right? In twins.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I didn't get what you're talking about. I'm like, what?
I was like, I'm trying to think of the movie reference. I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah, that's right, twins.
But I think I don't know that you could, like
Your twin brother.
look, it was beautifully shot, and I got this friend that said, oh, you know, when the trailers came out, it's too dark, and I thought, what do you mean too dark? As in like, you know, in terms of tone and everything. He goes, no, it's too dark, and I'm like, and then eventually I realized he was talking about the color grade. I'm like, you're kidding me, right? Like you're complaining about the visual style of it. I think it was really well shot.
It
was-
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it
I
was
still
beautifully
think it
shot.
was-
Cinematography and everything was brilliant. But I think the very Dragon Ball
colour
Z / Neo and Agent
yeah,
Smith
it-
kind of
yeah,
fight at the end.
felt
It was
like
a
that.
bit too much. Bang into another building. Bang, and it was a bit too much. I think I was exhausted by the end of it.
But I think, even though it was a bit of a, why are they doing this? At the end of it, I kind of sat back and thought, it's kind of necessary for him for the setup for the next movie. Like people have a reason to hate him. People have a reason to...
He's an alien.
Yeah, because in the comics and the cartoons, they're like, oh, he's an alien, why should we trust him? But he helps people. He doesn't lie.
But you don't see that.
Yeah,
You don't see
this movie. It
Hasn't set that up yet.
Yeah.
In
But
all
it-
that fighting, if you saw a cat or a dog about to get hurt, he would save that cat.
Yeah.
But you don't see that.
There's too much of a. But I think who Nolan produced it, right?
I think he was.
Yeah.
He was part of them.
Yeah.
He was in the trailer. It was produced by Christopher Nolan.
Yeah,
or
yeah.
From the producers of Dark Knight
Knight
or
series.
something
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that. And that wanted people to just be like, oh,
Because see, I don't know how much say he had in screenplay and all that kind of stuff, right? But that I can see his influence because you know things like Batman, for instance, he really emphasized the fact that the heroes, like you know, heroes always have this fatal flaw, or in his case, the heroes in some way like anti-hero. You know, like Batman. had this dilemma.
Batman is meant to be.
Yeah,
an anti-hero.
like a vigilante. Like that's why I think Spider-Man didn't pull it off because first of all it was a bit campy, and secondly, like that was the darkness that they should have brought to the Spider-Man character in terms of like you know the authorities don't like him. He's a vigilante, right? But they didn't pull it off. But with Nolan pulled it off in Batman perfectly, you know, and I can see sort of them going in that direction with Man of Steel. Like they're setting it up,
Yeah.
you know, so that people don't really trust him. And he has to sort of constantly not prove himself, but he has to do what he has to do, regardless of the fact that maybe people don't believe in him. You know, like 100%.
Touching on Spider-Man, I feel like it's a bit of a mess because when I watched the first movie, I felt like the creators were trying to chase the Dark Knight by making it darker
Yeah,
and that sort of thing. And then the second movie, I felt like they were trying to chase Marvel Studios movies and trying to chuck in Easter eggs and
yeah,
that sort of thing and
Yeah.
say, oh, we're going to have all these villains coming up.
yeah.
everyone knows that they're trying to set up the Sinister Six.
Yeah.
And
But I think the studio is a bit confused. They're working off like trying to make money rather than trying to make a good movie.
yeah.
They were trying to catch up with Dark Knight.
Yeah,
Like right now, like on the
The
platform,
Sinister
Marvel's
Six
more popular.
aren't going to be interesting without Spider-Man.
Yeah, it's not gonna happen. Even
they're gonna-
though,
yeah.
as much as we want Spider-Man, because in the comics, Spider-Man, Wolverine, Nightcrawler. Who else is there? Some of the X-Men and Avengers cross over in the comics.
Yep.
They have X-Men versus Avengers, and they have great storylines there. But it's not gonna happen in the movie world because of legalities and things like that.
We're talking about the possibility of the Deadpool movie being a kind of like bridge between Fox and
And so,
Marvel.
oh, yeah,
Is
Marvel.
that on the
I don't know
on the
if
roadmap?
it's kind of confirmed or there was news of it.
Who's
I
in
don't know
it?
how concrete it is.
See, man.
Ryan
I
Reynolds
don't
is-
know. I don't know if I trust Ryan Reynolds to be a superhero anymore.
After Green
Yeah,
Lantern,
Green Lantern.
After he was in Blade Trinity, and
he was
I-
pretty cool in that.
I didn't think so.
He was-
I thought he was the annoying.
He was the comic
relief.
relief.
That's Deadpool. If
That is
if
quite-
they
yeah, it
did
is quite
a
Deadpool.
proper Deadpool movie with him, it would
Yeah.
it would
Instead of
have
Mutinics.
Because
it would have been excellent. It would have been that would have been
That's him,
Yeah.
right? That's
Yeah,
his
yeah,
personality.
And
Yeah.
Green Lantern, like the Hal Jordan, isn't that. It felt like, what was that movie that he was in?
What,
That party movie.
I'm thinking National Lampoon's one, the
no.
party
Van
liaison,
Wilder.
one, right?
Yeah,
Van Wilder
Wilder.
party liaison.
Yeah, Van Wilder. It felt like
Yeah.
Van Wilder was a Green Lantern. No, I don't know. I didn't like it. So now the fact that they have him set up to be Deadpool. He's an awesome character. He's an awesome character because he breaks through that fourth wall and speaks to the audience directly, and he knows that he's a comic.
You know who would have played a really good Hal Jordan? The guy that plays Thor, his younger brother, the guy from the Hunger Games.
Liam.
Hemsworth.
Yeah.
He would be an excellent Hal Jordan. Because Hal Jordan's supposed to be this young, kind of like
Yeah.
tall, slim, but kind of fit looking guy, like typical of the comic books in that era, right? I
Okay,
think, yeah.
in terms of casting, this is something that people have talked about before. Ben Affleck as Daredevil is now going to be Batman in the next movie.
Yeah.
What do you guys think about that?
I think
same
he's
as
gonna pull it off.
Human Torch becoming Captain America.
Yeah.
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 I saw him
I didn't see a
in
problem.
Runner, like Ben Affleck
Oh, when he with what's his name, the singer guy.
with Justin Timberlake.
I'm so bad with names today, man. Yeah.
Justin Timberlake, and I thought I could almost see Bruce Wayne's character in that.
Well, in the
the-
comics, he's got this square jaw. He looks like Batman.
Well, he needs to get in shape.
They're basing, but then again they're basing the next iteration of Batman on the Dark Knight Returns, who's a
The
much
fat Batman.
older, the fat Batman.
Yeah.
Fat man.
Well, not fat, just stocky.
No, he's
Stocky. He's got a little bit of a.
because in Dark Knight
Retired.
Returns he's retired and then
Yeah.
he comes back
Yeah.
as Batman. So he's this old dude in a Batman suit, and he has to
He's an old lady first.
in the movie. Spoiler alert! Anyone who watches Dark Knight,
Really? For real?
Dark Knight
He's an
Returns.
old lady, yeah.
I haven't read it.
It's a animated
Go
movie.
read
So
it.
there's Dark Knight
Oh, right.
Returns, and then what's the one after that? It's that there's two movies, the two animated movies, where he takes on Superman.
Wait, is this still Frank Miller?
Yeah.
Oh,
Is
okay.
it is Frank Miller, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, he takes on Superman because I love whoever hasn't seen it. I don't care. I'm gonna spoil it for you. He takes down Superman, and there's that scene where he says to him, he goes, "I want you to remember from in all your quiet moments, the man who beat you," and then he almost kills Superman, but he doesn't.
Yeah.
And I'm like, just my brain exploded. I was like, that is amazing, and I love Batman.
But when they released that little kind of teaser thing at Comic-Con, they basically broke the internet. Like, it was all over the internet.
Which teaser was that?
You know the one where you see like Batman
one
with his
where-
white eyes and
yeah.
then Superman,
Superman.
and you see, and just all the fanboys like just jizz into like.
I thought that was fake, because I only saw a camera version of it.
Yeah. But they were taking them down left, right, and center because they didn't want that to be out.
Yeah.
They were trying to control it. So people were filming it on their phone at Comic-Con, and then they were uploading it, and then you'd watch it, and then like an hour later it would be taken down. And you have to find it from somewhere else. So
But Batman's gonna have an Iron Man suit. he's gonna have his own suit of
Yeah.
armor, because
Yeah.
otherwise
To
how is he
fight
gonna
Superman?
how's he
we've,
gonna take
we've
down
got two
Superman?
versus movies coming up next year.
yeah.
We've got Batman versus Superman and Captain America versus Iron Man.
Is that confirmed now?
That's
Is it-
confirmed.
is it
That's locked
really?
in.
In,
Yeah.
Is that in the
Avengers 2.
roadmap?
Avengers 2 or
wait,
in,
that's
in
the year after. The year after.
it'll be in the
2016.
next Captain America.
It's all the way. The roadmap's all the way up to 2019 or something, right?
Yes.
They've got
Yeah.
movies.
So is it
planned
in the
all up
next
to then.
Captain America that it's gonna lead into Civil War?
The next Captain America is Civil War.
Yeah, but that's
So
not.
for the people that don't know, Silver War, Silver War, Civil War is based on the comics where there's it's based in the Mutant Registration Act. Is that what it is?
Similar.
No.
It's a
But they
hero.
can't
based-
use
right?
mutant. They can't
Yeah.
use the word mutant.
Mass vigilantes must register.
Yes, that's it.
And
Sorry.
just like any other law enforcement person.
Yes. So Tony Stark or Iron Man is for that legislation, and
And in the process, reveal their
yeah,
secret identity.
yeah.
And I mean, that's a dilemma. Like, their loved
Yeah.
ones are kind of in
Because
danger.
Tony Stark doesn't give a shit because he everyone knows who he is already,
Yeah.
right?
They've got to change the story for the movies because people know who Steve Rogers is. They know who Hulk is, and you were saying before that
Do they know who Hulk is? I don't think they do. Like only the couple
Yeah.
of military guys know.
maybe, but in the comics, the pivotal point of Civil War was Spider-Man, because
He was playing both sides.
he actually I like the Iron
He's
Spider.
Iron Man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that. It's cool.
Yeah. He's
Bas-
But they'll have to simplify it because if you look talking about a 2-hour movie, again, if there's too many characters, too many story arcs, you're gonna have issues. And I think that's the problem with Spider-Man. 2 villains and all this stuff happening.
Yeah, but they might make it like a 3-part.
Yeah,
Lord
most
of the
likely.
Rings.
Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, but then again, that's exhausting
Hobbit.
to watch.
1 movie into 3 movie. Is it 3 now?
The Hobbit.
It's
yeah,
always
three.
been 3. It's always been 3.
Yeah, but the book's like that thick.
Yeah, but nah. Did you watch the first one?
Yeah, I watched the first. I've watched both.
Mm.
Yeah, I'm eagerly anticipating the third one.
It felt like they just drew it
Yeah.
on and
Yeah,
on.
cliffhanger on purpose. Yeah, but yeah, and the Hunger Games too. I don't know. They really could have been 2 movies.
I don't get the Hunger Games. Did you ever read the books?
Nah, never.
I feel like that's a genre now, post-apocalyptic
It is.
romance.
It is.
Yeah,
Is that really? Is that
There was
really
a
relevant to
Korean
today.
director that did there's a movie called Snowpiercer.
Ah, I saw
Have you
that
seen
one.
that movie?
I
Yeah.
don't like it, but I saw it.
But-
Snowpiercer.
I have love and
Captain
hates about it,
America.
but what he was trying to say in it, like
Yeah.
I found really appropriate about
Yeah.
like
Basically, for your sake, Snowpiercer it's set
There's a
on.
guy peeing in the snow.
It's got Chris Evans in it, and they're on a train.
They eat
the train is a metaphor
pig blood?
for
blood jelly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's like me going to the restaurant on
Yeah,
the weekend having
they're in
fun.
kanji.
Like,
Yeah, the train is a metaphor for the world
and society.
and society, and then they're trying to get from the end of the train to the head of the train.
Yep.
And when they finally get there, drama.
I never finished
But-
that movie.
I haven't heard of it.
I got halfway.
I think when I watched it, I was trying to be too logical. I'm like,
What happens at the end?
It's
There's
kind
a-
of
Did they
Is it
make
very
it-
nice?
it
Is
is-
it art house?
it
It's
is
a bit
it
art
is
house?
that kind of thing where like yeah they are starting from the bottom where like the end of the train is like very like it's poverty and
Yeah, it's,
like
very
very very bad
like-
conditions
So
Yeah.
and they're trying to climb their way up to maybe a better place in the train
Mm.
like climbing their way up through
Right.
society
And they
but
have
what
to
they
fight
see at
through,
the
yeah.
end it's not what they wanted
Yeah.
What's
so I
at the
think
end?
it's very similar
the engine.
Thomas.
Yeah. No,
The fat controller.
Ooh.
That guy.
Controller.
But see, I think I watched it, and I was looking at it going, "This is." I had the wrong mindset. I was too
Yeah.
logical.
Yeah.
There's a scene where they walk into a carriage, and there are children learning, and the whole carriage is their classroom, and then they run out and they go to the next carriage,
And then the guys with the
and then
sticks.
there's a different. It's like a rave party,
Yeah.
and I'm thinking, where the hell did the kids go?
yeah
They just go to the rave party, or they. I don't know.
It's very
that's what happens after
figurative,
high
right?
school
I think that's what he's trying to
that's the
say.
statement, yeah.
After high school, you go to a rave party, take drugs, drink, and then you get to the head of the train. But yeah, that was. I thought it was gonna be good.
It wasn't like it's not like that movie that's the best movie that you ever seen sort of thing.
Yeah,
But it is an interesting statement to
yeah.
say.
It was an interesting concept,
But I think it's getting
and it had Chris Evans in it.
Yeah.
So-
really.
He was still in captain mode.
Yeah,
You
he
expected
was.
him to pull out his shoe.
I haven't heard of it. I'm surprised I haven't heard of it.
Yeah, you should watch it. It's
By
pretty
a
cool.
Korean director.
If you like
What was that
the
horror movie
visuals,
director?
the visuals of it was
It was a really weird horror movie that he directed.
the
About a
visuals of the
giant
movie.
fish.
Which one was that?
Had a giant fish that ate everyone. And then it was about this guy trying to find his daughter that got eaten.
Oh
called?
no, I think I
The
And
Oh,
then
is it the host?
the host.
yeah, and then the star of that one is in Snowpiercer.
She's the drugger
the kid.
daughter.
Yeah.
Okay.
There was another interesting one that he did,
Isn't it dad? Isn't it too?
which is called Memories of Murder, and it was about a serial killer in Korea at the time, very similar to what's it Zodiac.
Oh, okay. All right.
And
Hey man,
Yeah.
you're stepping into like sacred
We're good.
territory
We're
for me
good.
now. David Fincher, man. David Fincher is like very. I'm a fanboy. But anyway,
I think we're diverging from.
Yeah.
Yeah, kind
Comic
of.
books.
But
Does it have to be?
not necessarily.
This is
Like,
just-
you know,
Oh,
I
it's
think-
talking, but I'm just saying, if we're gonna stay on topic.
So I was talking about Kenshin.
Yes.
Basically I saw the Kenshin, the 2 movies at the Japanese film
These are
festival.
Japanese. Yeah.
Anime, based off anime. and
It's based off
manga.
anime, and it's like maybe like the biggest film that's come like adapted from an anime recently.
Yeah.
I kind of have my loves and hates about what the movie's shown. Some parts I found were a bit kind of.
David's seen all of it. I can't stand the animation, so I can't get into it. But the story.
So it's an animated movie. It's an anime.
I tried
It's a
watching
live
the
action
anime,
movie
but I couldn't.
of an
live
anime.
action. All right.
Based
okay.
off an
But
anime.
the live action movie, I thought it was okay.
I saw the first one,
Yeah.
but I
Yeah.
haven't seen the second or third one yet. So
Yeah, they take it a lot further. But what I loved about it was the fighting and the action. It was really grounded, and they made it really believable. So, yeah, like things are kind of exaggerated in the anime. Like it's very stylistic in the
Well,
anime.
what do you like about it? Is it the choreography or it's not shaky cam, right? Like
It's not shaky cam.
Right.
It's very well choreographed.
Yeah.
And like I haven't seen any like sword fights like that like in movies in a while.
Right.
But what I was thinking as I was watching it, I was thinking this is like it's not like the best movie that I've ever seen, but like I can see why it would be really popular, and I don't think it's like Japan doesn't have a lot of movies like this, and this may be one of its first of its kind, and maybe it might break through, and maybe people will start looking at maybe animes, and if they should be adapted to film.
Yeah, because that anime studio is gone, right? They I forgot the bloody name. Like, I'm really terrible with
Studio
names
Ghibli.
today. That's it.
Studio
Yeah, that's gone now.
Ghibli.
So Ghibli, yeah.
Jobbies.
was that Takeshi's Castle? What's that called?
How's Moving Castle?
Is that what it's called? I can't remember.
The one where he runs across the roof and.
Those kinds of movies, like Spirited Away and stuff.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah, Spirit. I think Princess Mononoke was the first anime that I saw at the theater.
Yeah.
This is how like late I got into it, right? But man, it blew me away. Like up until then, I thought cartoons were, you know, just kind of at a certain level. Like watch Transformers is kind of.
Did
really
you ever watch
trash.
Dragon Ball?
Yeah, I watched Dragon Ball, but I watched that in Cantonese because growing up,
Yeah.
so I thought that for me, Dragon Ball wasn't cartoons. It was.
Awesome.
So awesome! It was totally different. I separated that from.
It wasn't
from
cartoon.
cartoons.
It was
cartoon.
live.
It was
It
live.
was Dragon Ball was live.
But like I just separated the two, and I thought, oh yeah, cartoons from Asia because
American cartoons. What the hell?
yeah, well, like American cartoons,
Ren and
like,
Stimpy.
yeah, Ren and Stimpy,
Yeah.
all that kind of crap.
I got
And
stupid
then
at watching that stuff.
and then I went and watched Princess Mononoke, and I thought, oh my god, this is not a cartoon. This is a film. Like it blew me away, like how
Yeah.
crazy it was. And then Spirited Away, and it just one after another, and I thought, what the hell is going on?
And when it comes to like anime being reimagined into, so Kenshin was a
Yeah.
standout, I think,
I
because when they did,
yeah, I thought it was quite interesting what they did with it,
yeah,
and a lot more successful than say Dragon
Dragon
Ball,
Ball
Evolution.
and because as well as Avatar, they took, I what's his name?
You don't like Avatar?
It's kind of like an American anime Avatar.
Princess of Wool, Princess with what was it called? That
Dances with Wolves?
Dances with Wolves. Yeah, when I watched it, I'm like, this is Dances with Wolves.
Is it
Avatar.
Well, we're talking about Last Airbender.
the Last Airbender?
The Last
Sorry, by
Airbender.
M Night
You said-
Shyamalan.
I thought
Sorry.
I thought you said that
They-
Avatar.
I was like Sixth Sense, and then
M Night.
yeah, it's gonna be good.
Yeah,
And then what
Yes.
happened?
I never watched Avatar.
M Night Shyamalan.
I never watched Avatar. So I don't know
The,
anything about it.
because it already has its own universe that's on like a visual universe, like it's animated, so it's already like Avatar: The Last Airbender was like a film. It was like a year-long film,
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
and watching it, it progresses through and does all this thing, but trying to do it in one movie.
Yeah.
Was he trying to set it up?
I don't know.
No, because
man.
I'm not
Last
sure.
Airbender.
I didn't like the casting.
No.
It wasn't nothing to do with the casting. I found that the world M Night created and the way that the story was structured, it felt like a whole bunch of cutscenes from MMO. Like if you're playing, like Dune, or you're playing StarCraft or something like that. Like you got a faction and a faction and a faction, and they're all very like it was the visual, like it was all everything to do with production value, man. Like it just felt really kiddie, and everything like the way it all came together, it just came
Yeah,
across really.
the anime was aimed at kids, but the storytelling and the story behind it was so, it was what's the word for it? It was so interesting and so compelling. That there's the antagonist who is Prince Zuko. He's
Why is he Indian?
I don't know.
Because
The director's Indian.
because he's Indian.
Yeah, probably. But he was so motivated to get Aang, the last airbender, because he wanted honor, and that was his character developed from this this evil guy that was blinded by this honor, and then he realized he grew into this more robust character, and you can't. He
And
didn't.
his hair changed.
Yeah, you can't do that in a movie that's even if you make it 2-3 hours long, it's hard to develop all of those characters because that cast is.
I think
Massive.
Kenshin.
I think you can. I think you can. Like I've spoken to one of my friends who's a director, and he said, "Look, yeah, you can tell a story in 15 seconds if you want to. Like a good storyteller can do it. Like you watch these commercials, and they're like 30 seconds long.
Have you seen the Tiger Beer commercials? They're really good.
Which ones?
Tiger Beer.
Tiger Beer? No, I haven't seen any of them.
They pop up on YouTube heaps.
Yeah? No, I haven't seen,
I've got ad
I'm in a rock.
blockers. I've got ad blockers. I don't watch ads on YouTube anymore.
But yeah, I think with Kenshin, it was a very, very large story that they covered
Yeah.
in 2 movies. And I think they had a bit of trouble with it, but you kind of managed to follow along. But I don't know if that was me because I followed the
So
anime.
what's it about? What's it about? Like without spoiling it, I don't know.
It's essentially a story about redemption. The main character is a samurai who fought through the war of the feudal times.
Yep.
When samurai, basically whoever had power was in control.
Yeah.
Then he was fighting for a rebellion government who would, when they get power, they become government and they kind of like
I like the one
stand for the people.
Movies.
So yeah, he after he's assassinated all these like key people and brought the government into power, he's an assassin. And after that, like, what do you do with your life after that? So he decides to be a wanderer, and he just uses his skills to help people who he just crosses paths with. Yeah.
I remember from watching one of the cartoons, or it was an animated film of his. He'd only use the blunt side of his
the
blade.
blunt side of his
Because
blade.
he was trying to renounce his.
Because
Oh,
he wouldn't
isn't that not
He didn't-
Naruto?
samurai.
I've seen the cut. The
Kenshin.
Yeah, is that Samurai
Yeah,
X?
Samurai
Is that Kenshin?
Yeah.
No,
So
I
he's
know
got
where
a
I've seen that name
reverse.
before.
He's got a reverse blade.
Reverse blade sword. Ah, okay.
Because he's got the blunt side on the front. Because he's renounced. He doesn't want to kill anymore.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah.
I think like what they did with it. That's one of the animes that's more grounded in terms of people who's not flying around or like having special powers like Avatar or Dragon Ball.
Yeah.
So to me, like looking at it as a film, if it's popular enough, would it be like a launch pad as a grounded movie to introduce other anime that can be a bit more outlandish and build up, similar to what Iron Man did for Marvel?
And then we'll see a proper Dragon Ball movie.
Or
see,
a
it
That was a
Naruto-
disaster from the beginning. As soon as I
Naruto
saw,
movie.
as soon as I
Yeah.
heard who was going to play the main lead, what the? It's either you change it so that his granddad is not Asian, right? And just made like no,
That's
I-
so racist.
no, it's not a racial thing, but it's to keep it within the realm of believability. You know, like
That's right. Yeah.
you have Chow Yun Fat, and then you got everybody else, and everybody else is supposed to be Asian. Like, you forget what actual nationality they are. They're just Asian, right?
Was that coming off
But
the
then-
back of Crouching Tiger?
Yeah, it was.
That's why they-
That's-
Monk.
Bulletproof Monk?
You're probably
Yeah.
off that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
man. But like, I saw the trailer. I think in the trailer, he's combing his hair and then it pops up again. And I was like, this is way too cartoony for it to be any. Like it looked like it should have been a comedy. And
Yeah.
that's why when I saw the trailer.
Yeah. It reminded me a little bit of Double Dragon back in the.
That was excellent, man.
I love that movie.
Oh,
Are you
excellent.
serious?
I was serious.
Are you serious? Oh my god, dude!
What's the
There's
chick's
martial arts
name?
in there.
The chick,
guy-
the chick that was in it. She was in.
not the chick, the dude.
I
The
don't care. She was in Charmed. Oh,
Mark
Alyssa
Ducati. Was it
Milano?
Mark Ducati?
yes.
Alyssa Milano.
Alyssa Milano.
I gotta watch that movie
You're
again.
gonna watch it again. Yes, and then watch Commando, and then you'll be a pedophile.
Commando.
Because she's in it.
She's in it. She's a daughter.
She's a daughter. Yeah, yeah, that's
daughter.
right.
Yeah.
Come on, guys.
Yeah.
I just watched Charmed.
Yes.
I can't believe you like Double Dragon.
Dude, I love Double Dragon.
What the hell?
It was so bad. It was good.
I know it's because when you're younger, you don't have like. I watched it and I thought, this is the game.
Yeah.
This is the game realized into a movie, and that's
Even
all
though
like,
it's shitty.
that's all I cared about.
Even when I
No, no,
watched
no,
it
no.
as a kid, I knew I didn't like it. I didn't know.
You accept it as official.
No,
It was canon. It's out there.
It was
It's
Mark
out there, it's out there.
Dukakis, right?
Yeah.
See, Mark Dukakis at the time
And the
was
dude
this
from Party of
awesome-
Five.
awesome like martial artist, and then the Party of Five guy he comes in and he does this little roundhouse kick, and you can tell they did a low angle to make him look like he kicked higher, and it's just like it was so obvious that they were just he couldn't fight. It was,
I'm remembering
It
it
was
now.
alright.
because
I
like
remember, it was awesome.
It doesn't matter.
come on, man, like you
least I'm alive.
you watch The Matrix for instance, and you see Keanu Reeves.
Yeah.
He made an effort to fight, and you watch it,
He
and you're like, I
knows
can't
kung
believe.
fu.
Yeah, he knows.
I know.
Does he?
Yeah.
Yeah, he knows.
He knows. Kung Fu.
Downloaded.
Apparently he's part Asian,
Yes.
according to 47 Ronin.
He's part Lebanese or something, isn't he?
Lebanese. Where'd you get Lebanese from?
That's what I heard.
He's a child of the world.
He's a child of the
That's
world.
it.
Yeah.
He's got a bit of Chinese in him, I think.
Does he?
Yeah.
Do you have it for dinner that night?
Sancho.
That's really what he meant when he said I have Lebanese in me. He just said some fried chicken, like some barbecue chicken or something.
It was like when we first watched the Street Fighter movie, Van Damme.
Oh man, that
was bad, but
that
it
was
was
so
like-
bad. That was so bad. Have you seen that movie? Online, there was only online. What's it called?
Assassin's Fist.
Assassin's
Assassin's Fist. Boom. That was the best
Oh
one.
my
Yes.
god, that was fucking fantastic.
That was
Yes.
see. This comes back to that point in having something, like based in kind of like rooted in the real world,
Yeah.
because that was they took that story out of the rest of the universe of Street Fighter.
Yeah.
And the rest of Street Fighter universe is a
No,
bit
but
like,
they did it so
crazy.
well because
Whoa,
you,
what the
like
heck?
you, the whole time watching this, because you know Street Fighter is this entire world and there's all these characters in there,
But
right?
you need to put up. You got to start somewhere.
But,
So you
but,
gotta start
but the
small.
thing is, the whole time you're watching it, you feel a wider world, and you feel like, yeah, these characters could exist somewhere. Chun-Li could be somewhere. Guile, actually, Guile is in it, right? Didn't you?
No,
Or
Yeah.
it alludes to him because they're on a base or something.
they go to a bar
yeah,
and
yeah.
there's like a fight club or like a street
Yeah.
fight.
Yeah, yeah, and they allude to the
There's
fact
US
that he
soldiers
is that Guile somewhere around, like he could be there. But yeah, just watching this whole thing, it was awesome. Like,
They did really well with that.
yeah.
They did so well.
I think
And
with
the
these,
character of Ken and Ryu and how they develop, and you show them growing up with their master. It's just that relationship of Ken and Ryu, like you could tell they were
And they speak
brothers.
Japanese.
And they speak
Yeah.
Japanese. And that
That was
guy,
so
the guy that played Ken. Oh,
Yes.
He-
Top spot on.
straight,
He looked-
Yeah,
straight out of the game.
Yeah, he looked so much older than the guy who plays Ryu, and he looks like he's.
but that's reality though, because Asians look younger than
Yeah.
white people.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. That's true. Social ID. 60. Damn.
Yeah, I know.
But yeah, they did really well with
Yeah.
that. Even with the fight scenes and
Yeah.
the music and oh man, it
Easter
made it.
eggs. The Easter eggs.
They
Yeah.
made it believable.
I think what makes a difference is that the filmmakers of Assassin's Fist and filmmakers of Marvel movies, they're all fans themselves,
Yeah.
And they do it for the fans,
as
not
opposed
for the
to
money.
maybe
Yeah.
studios that are
Maybe a little bit of money,
trying
but-
to do things
Yeah.
to kind of like build up just for marketing purposes.
So
Yeah.
I don't know too much about the background of the project, Assassin's Fist. Like, what was it for? Was it because the
It started
Mortal Kombat series? What's it called? The origin of how they did a video for each character of Mortal Kombat. That was to promote the game, right?
No, I think it was like a fan film first,
yeah,
and then
because that was
I
got
didn't
a
follow
lot of
them,
interest
yeah.
and
Yeah.
people
Machinima-
wanted to.
Yeah.
That's what the Street Fighter guys did with their first short.
Yeah.
And they got a
yeah.
lot
But
of
in terms
interest.
of Assassin's Fist, was that meant to promote something or?
No, that was its own standalone.
Yeah,
like,
like
movie
little
film.
mini web
Can't believe they
series for the fans.
Because I watched it all in one sitting. I
Yeah.
didn't watch it as it was released. I watched.
No, they released it all at once.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I watched the condensed version where they don't break up into episodes. It's just one long
Yeah.
2-hour film.
Yeah.
And it blew my mind.
That's probably Street Fighter Alpha Beta.
Yeah, something coming out.
Alpha Beta Z versus
Yeah.
Tekken
Yeah.
versus Avengers versus Marvel versus.
Have you seen the
Versus-
Tekken movie?
Oh,
it's
don't talk
horrible.
about that, please. Don't talk about that.
I
the Blondie was hot in it.
think I boycotted.
Wait.
to
The
be honest.
Tekken movie had John Fu, and he was Ryu in that short.
Was he?
Yeah, and I was like, John Fu, no, John Fu.
Was he
Was he really?
Ronnie.
who was he in Tekken?
He was Jin.
Oh, no way! I don't remember.
Yeah.
That movie was so forgettable. I don't remember anything about it.
I didn't watch that one. I haven't.
And
watched
he
the
had
second one.
Lateef Crowder as Eddie, which was good.
Yeah.
You know Lateef Crowder?
Yeah. The are you talking about the black guy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The
The French guy,
capoeira.
right? Yeah.
Capoeira.
But
Did someone play what's her name? Was she in it? Eddie's girlfriend or?
Oh, I think I blocked the whole movie out of my
Yeah,
mind.
it's so bad. It's so terrible. It's really bad. What's that ninja character's name? The one that in the
Raven.
game he, like,
Yoshimitsu.
floats and whatever.
Yoshimitsu.
Yeah,
I think-
Yoshimitsu. He was the bad guy. He was the final boss, wasn't he?
I gotta watch this now. I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah.
I think I saw.
Expect it
I
to be
haven't
terrible
seen
and you'll be
it.
fine.
I know. I saw like a thing. Tekken movie, and I'm like, nah, it's not real. It's not real. I'm just gonna leave it.
It's almost like the last Airbender kind of thing. Each faction and then they're coming together. It's just terrible, man. Terrible movie.
So who remembers Mortal Kombat?
Sorry, Mortal Kombat was
The first one.
Mortal Kombat. No, I
watched it again recently.
Yeah, just
I
the
watched it
music
recently
was-
again.
I love that Excalibur.
That music
The
just
fight scenes were horrible, but
makes you
Yeah.
excited for the rest of the movie.
Yes.
Right at the beginning.
but
It's the sickest song ever.
At that time with Street Fighter,
That's all we had.
and Mortal Kombat. Mortal Kombat was
owned.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I wasn't a fan of Mortal Kombat, and I was like, at least they kept true to the source material.
Yeah.
The first Street Fighter.
Yeah.
Man.
I liked it because it was stupid.
I like the who wants to go home and who wants to go with me. Best.
But look, I think this the majority of this podcast we've been talking about Marvel movies, and we haven't really talked that much about DC.
DC,
So is that
you need to up your game.
The success of the Marvel movies from the Marvel franchise?
Definitely, they've done better to keep their brand and their franchises in the minds of the audience. I mean, there hasn't been as much marketing for Superman and Batman 1 as there is for Age of Ultron. I like how when they released when the trailer got leaked, they tweeted out they blamed Hydra for it, and it's like
Yes.
Yeah.
it made all the fans go,
Fan
that's
service.
cool, I love
Yeah.
that. And it's just making, they really are trying to cater for the fans, and they really are trying to build up their franchise because it's based on the fans. If it wouldn't be, it seems like you were saying before, the decisions that they make are based from the fans' reactions.
But I think Marvel's really sort of like fan service, right? Like they all they care about is sort of like staying true to the source material and really catering to the they know the audience in other words. Whereas DC, I find that they're still trying to make films, which Nolan is masterful at doing that. But I don't know if they bring in anybody else, whether they're going to pull it off. Like Zack Snyder with
Schneider.
that Scotch is kicking in, isn't it?
Oh, good. But you said it.
Zack Schneider?
Schneider.
Like Rob Schneider?
Rob
Yeah.
Schneider. But I think, I just find that they're a little bit too serious in terms of like how they're approaching the source material and trying to make these movies, whereas Marvel, they're really doing a good job at it, and then Sony is just sucking at it terribly. Sony Pictures, please, please, Sony.
They got 500 Days of Summer, I think, was a good movie for 500 Days of Summer.
Yeah.
And then he made Spider-Man.
And then he made Spider-Man, and it felt like
No, hold on. He made The Social Network before Spider.
Did
he? Yeah.
No,
Didn't he? No,
that
was that
wasn't
after?
That wasn't him, was it?
I don't think it was.
No. What are we talking about? The director or
The director.
Yeah.
Oh,
the
right.
director.
I
Yeah.
think I thought you were
But yeah, he
talking
did.
about Garfield.
He did 500 Days of Summer, the director, and then he did Spider-Man. It's just like, it really felt like it was like a romance movie.
He did the romance part.
Yeah,
Dude.
Yeah.
with a Spider-Man rapping. That's all it
Yes.
was.
But Gwen does but the thing is, I don't know what they did because they stuck to the source material. It just when you look at like the origins of the characters, how Gwen dies at the end, Gwen Stacy, that's all in it in the comics, right? For some reason, you watch these films, and I don't know if they're just putting too much into sort of the colourfulness of it, or they're trying to make it too complicated, or what? They're trying to put too much into it, too many villains, or what? Like, you've got Sandman Sandman was Andrew Garfield, right?
He was Tobey Maguire.
Maguire. So I'm getting all my Spider-Man movies mixed up now.
That was in the third one with
I think,
Venom.
yeah.
Venom, that's it, yeah.
That was
I
horrible.
think they are trying to make him.
Topher Grace
No,
is Venom.
I'm thinking of Reptile, not Sandman, Reptile.
The lizard.
The lizard, sorry,
yeah.
lizard, yeah.
Cross
So, fucking that one's killing me.
What are we talking about?
Mortal Kombat.
Don't cross the streams.
Spider-Man versus
They're remaking
Reptile.
Ghostbusters.
Ghostbusters, for real. Is Dan Aykroyd in it, please?
No, I don't think
They need. Oh man, I don't
Bill
know.
Murray.
Bill Murray. What's that zombie movie?
What
with
they would
Bill
need
Murray?
to pull that off is
Zombieland?
Zombieland.
an
Oh,
ensemble
fantastic.
that kind of work well together,
Mm.
kind of like Guardians of the Galaxy, kind of work well to be comedic.
Yeah.
That movie that came out of nowhere. Guardians of the Galaxy. Like I don't know. I didn't know anything about Guardians of the Galaxy.
That's
Before
what they
they
wanted to
announced
do
that
because they've done Iron Man.
They've done all the
people know
big-
Iron Man, or
Yeah.
like some people do know Iron Man. If they know comics, they know Iron Man.
Yeah.
But do you
And
think
then
they're just they're sort
You
of
know
like
Thor, you know
trying to milk
comics,
it a little bit now?
you know Captain America, and then they said, oh, we'll do something different.
Guardians of the
It's less
Galaxy
known.
is an amazing movie.
Yes.
Who- what-
It's-
yeah.
It's an 80s sci-fi movie.
Yes.
Yeah,
and,
All the characters work well
You
together.
know, you know what? It was very reminiscent of. You remember that '80s movie called The Last Starfighter? It reminded me a little bit of that. For some reason.
Starfighter.
The spaceship sequences and all that kind of stuff.
See, they might have used that as one of the scenes or something.
No. I'm not talking about the film. It's just something about like the aesthetics of the spaceships and I don't know the creature animations, because in the Last Starfighter, what happens is that you've got this character and he's really good at this video game, but what they don't know is that the video game is actually based on a real alien spaceship, and I can't remember specifically, but I think they use it to almost test out who's going to be good at flying these spaceships. And then because he clocked the high score, he comes out of this bar, and then the aliens come and pick him up. And the aliens look like big giant lizard heads. They have giant lizard heads, and he goes and
Sounds
fights
familiar.
in this.
Yeah.
It's very 80s, but it's awesome.
We should watch it. We should all watch it together.
Do a commentary.
But yeah, Guardians of the Galaxy. I think what helped that even more than the cast that they had was the soundtrack.
Yes.
The 80s,
Yeah.
the
Soundtrack.
90s
It was
soundtrack,
80s
right?
80s soundtrack. The soundtrack to that was it made me want to watch it so
Yeah.
much more.
The soundtrack is important. It's just like watching a Tarantino movie.
Yeah,
The soundtrack.
Yeah.
and it because I love 80s music, and watching that first scene
Yeah.
where he's
Yeah.
just dancing through
Yeah.
the king, it's just like, whoa, what is happening? But I wanted to see more, and then the action started, and I loved how how they
Digimon
used it.
Hanzo.
What?
The dark man. The dark skinned man.
Oh, yeah, Digimon. That's his
Yes.
name.
Yes. Digimon. I don't think that's how you pronounce it, but
Who are you? Who? Star-Lord, man. Who?
he was in Constantine. It's Papa Midnight.
Yeah.
I can't remember.
was he in
Shaman.
Blood Diamond?
He was in Blood Diamond.
Yeah,
Oh,
They're making-
the really famous guy.
I think he won an award for Blood
Yeah,
Diamond.
yeah,
as
Digimon.
well.
They're making a Constantine series. I've seen like one episode, but I don't know how I feel about it yet. See, what I feel
How do
like
you feel about the cast?
I don't know anything about the cast, but see the DC, I feel like they're making a lot more TV shows than like movies.
They're not that great.
Arrow.
I don't.
Arrow was like ooh.
That's terrible, man. The acting is so wooden in it, and it's so bad.
I watched like episode 6 of Gotham. I don't know how I got to it. I was trying to watch the first episode.
I haven't seen a single episode. After
I-
Arrow,
I
I was
liked-
like, nah, I'm not watching this anymore.
I like the story, and Gordon, like the OC guy,
That OC guy.
The OC guy.
He was from One Tree Hill or something.
I can't remember, but he makes a good young Jim Gordon, and the story of how he he'll grow into being Jim Gordon.
Oh, the episode I watched was his girlfriend is a lesbian.
Have you heard of
Yes.
Yes.
The Flash? What about The Flash?
The Flash
I haven't
is
seen any
good.
yet.
The Flash
I
is
like his
good.
Apparently
costume.
it's good. I just haven't seen it.
The
I
Flash
like
is
his
good, and they built that off the back of Arrow.
But the aesthetics of it and the production value and everything of all these DC TV shows, it all feels like Smallville. It all feels the same. Like
Yeah.
the way it's lit and just the way, the whole aura about the show, it's very Smallville. And Smallville was okay at that time, but now when you go back and watch it, everything feels very dated. And I think they're still sort of going off that for some reason.
I don't know. I think they're doing well with Flash. The one
How
thing
many
that
episodes are there now?
maybe 6 or 7. The only thing that annoys me is he can get whiny. Like the character gets whiny. The character gets whiny. It's like, oh, I can't do this. I can't save these people. I can't run
Yes, you
fast
can.
enough. And then someone has to give him a pep talk.
You
Okay,
can.
yeah, you can. You can do this. And he goes, yes, I
You
can.
can
do
run
this.
really
And then he's running to do
fast.
it. I'm like, come on, man. Seriously, you have to. I don't know. But other than that, I think they do well with starting to build the characters, and the guy that played what else was he in? I can't remember. He was in some comedy, but he plays the Doctor with sinister intentions. But
I haven't seen it, so I don't know what
but yeah.
I was gonna say Mr. Burns from the
Mr.
Simpsons.
Burns,
Yeah, excellent.
I think because Flash, I like the science behind it as well, because he there's like time travel in his
Yeah.
that movie Flashpoint Paradox.
Yes. That was
Is-
okay.
I thought that was an amazing DC animated film. That it's based on Flash's life. He goes back in time and saves his mother from being killed, but in what happens is it sets off a ripple effect in time. Superman doesn't get found by the Kents. Batman, Bruce Wayne dies. His dad becomes Batman.
Thomas
Yeah.
Wayne.
Wow.
Thomas Wayne becomes
Smokes
Batman.
and uses the gun.
Wonder
And
Woman.
his mum becomes the Joker.
Yeah, his mom becomes the
the-
Joker.
yeah.
Wow, it's like
His-
this whole parallel universe.
Yeah, and was it Wonder Woman?
Alternate timelines, sorry.
Yeah, alternate timeline. Wonder Woman and what's the name? Aquaman. They get into a feud.
Because
And
they had
Relations.
putting on the ring,
Yeah,
Lord of the Rings ring.
but they have this feud that it turns into this massive world war, and they're about to tear the world apart, and Barry Allen, who's the Flash, wakes up in this timeline, and he doesn't have his powers, and he has to find out why. He seeks out Thomas Wayne, who's the new Batman, or the Batman at that time.
Bat Dad.
Dad,
Yeah.
who I think
I'm just picturing this Simpsons scenario. You know when
How
Homer
does
goes and
the Flash's costume fit in the ring?
I don't know.
There's a vacuum cleaner. And,
It's
like,
a frick-
miniature
it's-
vacuum cleaner.
It's a frictionless. I have no idea, man.
Yeah.
I have no idea. But his Flash his costume, like in the comic,
it's Nike
or the
Fit
thing,
or something.
it's a little ring, and he presses a button, and his costume comes out of it. And I think
How does it get in it?
he moves so
he's
fast.
The Flash. He's the Flash. He can move so quick.
He moves so fast that he jumps into his suit, and then puts it on. But there'd be so much chafing. I think.
Yeah.
Like,
It's frictionless.
It would
It's
be so
frictionless.
oh, that's true.
Frictionless, man.
I only think like if I was the Flash, I would be eating constantly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you're
He,
always
he
running.
does.
you know?
That's what happens. I
Eating
think he does eat a
constantly.
lot.
Yeah.
Metabolism, right?
Yeah, but I like that about the that
No, but
Flash
the whole
point.
time you're telling me this timeline, I'm just thinking of Homer Simpson. You know, remember that episode of Homer Simpsons where The Simpsons where Homer goes back in time and he changes the past and it
Yeah.
affects the future. And he steps on a bug.
Yeah.
And he comes back and you know he comes into the future and he's like, oh shit, like so wrong. And so he goes back again to try and like
Yeah.
avoid stepping on a bug. And then he finally gets to this alternate future where he thinks everything's
Everything's
normal
fine, yeah.
and everything's perfect. Actually, not normal, perfect. Everything's perfect. Marge is in the kitchen making him breakfast and everything, and then he goes, "Oh, can you give me a donut?" And he goes, "Donut? What's a donut?" And he goes, "Ah!" And he gets back in time, and then as he disappears, Marge goes, it looks like it's raining and it's raining donuts. I thought that was brilliant.
Yeah, that's awesome.
But that's what I'm thinking of when you're talking about this alternate.
Yeah, no, but I think they totally flipped the script
Planet of the Apes.
for DC.
Cast you all to hell.
Damn you all to hell. But they've totally flipped it, where the story goes that Flash goes and sees Batman or Thomas Wayne, and he redoes his experiment of, because the way that Flash got his powers was
Oh yeah, that part
by
was
lightning.
awesome.
he was
Getting
in
hurt.
he was in his lab, and there were chemicals everywhere. He got struck by lightning, and the concoction of the chemicals plus the lightning made him the Flash. And so they tried it with an electric chair in a thunderstorm with all these
almost
chemicals, and he almost died. The first time they tried it, I'm like, that is awesome. But there's a whole comic to it as well. Lois Lane, she becomes one of the rebels against the Amazons and stuff like that.
Yeah.
The whole DC universe gets turned upside down.
But it was good.
What food do you think makes the Flash faster? Like chili food or?
I don't know, man.
He'd have to have, like,
It'll
anything-
burn on the way out as
No,
well.
he'd have to have anything that's like high in carbohydrates. You know?
Doesn't chili food burn your metabolism?
But is there his
No,
metabolism
I don't think
fast?
it's food, man. I think it's a very Tony Montana kind of thing. You know, like
Oh drugs!
in the series, there's a part where they're at the bar and he's drinking, and he goes, "Hey guys, watch this," and he has like 5 or 6 shots of tequila, and he just goes, and he's like, "I feel nothing." I'm like, whoa! Like his body metabolizes the alcohol so fast that he can't get drunk. And I'm like, man, imagine to be Flash.
I think I need that ability, man.
1 bottle, 2 bottles. I'm not drunk at all.
Yeah, that'll be expensive though.
That's the same as
That wouldn't be any
Wolverine.
fun either.
Yeah.
Wolverine can't get drunk.
It's just like drinking water.
Wolverine.
Well, so apparently Superman
Yeah.
can't get drunk. I don't know if it's if it's in the comics or not, but I just remember this one episode of Lois and Clark. You know, when Dean Cain played Superman,
Cain.
and he goes, he's at the bar and he's sad and he's drinking and drink away his sorrows, and he goes, another. And the bartender pours him wine. He goes, another, and then like 3 or 4 later, the bartender goes, I think you've had enough. He goes, no, I can't get drunk. And he goes, sure, buddy, sure. And he walks away, doesn't give him any
Captain
more.
America can't get drunk either.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
The super serum.
Yeah. Super serum.
What do you guys think of all the cosplay? I know what you're thinking. Jessica Negri.
Yes.
No, but what do you think about that cosplay? I think that has a large part to do with how popular comic book
I
movies
think
are.
it's good. Like when I used to go to the comic store and I wanted a like a comic T-shirt, it only came in extra
large.
Yeah. Maybe that's the assumption that people who read comics are extra large. But since cosplayers are kind of like our size now, they've got shirts in our size, so that's cool. Yay!
Thanks, cosplayers.
Yay!
With the advent of social media, I think it's getting a lot easier for people to sort of know about that subculture, you know, and then things like Dragon Con, Comic Con in the States, and all these other cons. It's becoming more and more popular, right? Like, you know, cosplay and of course, you know, sexy girls in tight outfits.
It's not just that. It's not just that. Like, I think the cosplayers that do well, that get the most, they get more prominent. The female ones that are, you know, quite vivacious or very cute, the pretty ones, or the males that do.
There are epic dude ones too.
Yeah, the epic
But I
dude
don't
ones.
know them because I
No,
don't
but the
know
thing is,
the
the
females.
epic dude ones are all about how cool the costume is and how well it
Yes.
poses.
The epic dude
photography,
ones-
whereas the girl ones are like high angles with the cleavage
Yeah.
hanging out and just
The epic dude ones are the ones that the Iron Man suits that they build from
Yes.
scratch.
Yeah.
The
Like,
Transformer ones.
The Transformer ones that I've seen I am Groot. I've seen a Groot one
yeah.
like that.
I've seen some epic ones.
And yeah, those ones are cool. I wonder what that says about us.
I don't know.
We only find the males have to do really intricate ones, and the
Yeah.
females are, if they wear less clothing.
But they're still
No,
intricate.
but I don't think
It's
they
heaps of detail.
wear less,
It
but
is quite
they're very intricate. But I think
There's a lot of
there's a
marketing in it.
there's
Like
a culture where
social.
girls feel like they have to add that little bit of extra sexy sizzle to make it.
No, I've seen Jessica Negri covered and it's still hot.
Yeah, no, but the only reason Jessica Negri is famous is because of all the other million other pictures where her boobs are hanging out. It's only gonna get worse, I think, because like Supernova in Sydney, it's huge. Like I went to one of the early ones a few years ago, and it was okay. It was a little bit sad in terms of like it was only half the convention center, and there wasn't much happening there. And then like a couple of years later, it just got bigger and bigger and bigger. And then the one that was on this year, I didn't even bother going. But it was apparently I heard it was huge. Like people were lining up, and it was just sardines in there. And I think they've outgrown that menu now.
I think it's interesting that you'll get cosplayers that like maybe for a movie that they haven't made or a comic book or something they haven't adapted yet, and they'll have cosplayers already doing the costume, and maybe they'll do it in like straight from the comic sort of thing. And then when the costume designers for the movie come along, and they'll maybe, I don't know, if they look at cosplayers and see how it looks like and say, we won't go there, we'll do this.
Yeah.
So it's something to look at and say, like, what's the standard for, like, what people can do, like, just in the public, and then what level should, like, a movie value hold as well.
Have you seen the steampunk crossovers?
No,
They're really good.
In terms of what?
In terms of any of the characters, like they have a steampunk Batman.
The steampunk
No, I
Harley
don't
Quinn.
think I have.
Yeah.
They're really good.
Like steampunk is the alternate universe where
Yeah, it's like retro futuristic
Yeah.
kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
like
But no, I haven't
Wild
seen.
Wild West.
I don't think I've really paid attention to the whole steampunk.
It's an
phenomenon.
interesting take on the different characters.
Yeah.
But people do that. And
And
I think it's,
the gender swaps.
yeah.
Like the female Captain Americas and
Yeah.
they're really hot.
Yeah. Well, I think it's getting easier as well to make. Oh, it's more not. I wouldn't say easier, just more accessible. Because you got things like Pepakura, where you can sort of print, shapes, and then the computer sort of lays out these 3D shapes out in the 2D, and then you print them out. Like that's how I made that Iron Man helmet. It's all Pepakura, and I think it's getting a lot more accessible. And then you got like 3D printers now and all that kind of stuff, and
3D printers.
I want
things like the replica prop forum, where there's all these resources online for people to really get their hands on,
That's part of it as well.
plans and stuff. So I think it's gonna get.
I've seen some dudes print out the mask of Arkham Knight. Have you seen the game? There's a new Batman game coming out, Arkham Knight, and they've 3D printed the mask for Arkham Knight, and they put it together. I'm like, I want one so badly. I want one so badly. I would walk around with it all day, even if I just. You cosplaying? Nah, this is just I'm just hanging out, man. But yeah, I think it comes down to. It's become big because of the fans. They love that. They love that stuff, and they want to be a part of. They want to create it too. They want to bring it. They feel so. They feel like they love that comic or they love that movie. They love whatever their source material is so much that they want to embody it.
You gotta represent.
And I think also the rights holders to all these things, they're really clued in on it now, because how many times did you hear certain, like somebody did something, like created something, and then they'll get like a cease and desist letter because they didn't. The studio. But in the past, like 10 years ago, they used to happen all the time, right? And people would like create something and they'll release their plans online, and then they'll get like a letter from the studio, Viacom or something like that, saying, "Oh, cease and desist." Like with Star Trek, that was like it was heavily associated with that. And now, because people have really caught on to the fact that the fans are the people that make these things work, and so like Star Wars, Lucasfilms really does a good job, and like they don't care if you make lightsaber models, they don't care if you do this and do that. I mean, like
that's free marketing for them.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I think they've really caught on to that. So like you don't really hear about say Marvel Studios sending letters out to people saying don't make an Iron Man mask. They don't give a shit. Like it's free marketing for them.
Yeah.
So,
it's free marketing, and it just builds their fan base even more.
Yeah, exactly.
Because people see them go, "What are you wearing?" They're like, "Oh, it's this and this."
Well, it's the buzz. Like you go to like Comic-Con and you see all these awesome costumes, and you're like, "Oh, it's fucking sick." Oh yeah. By the way, that shield is not mine. That's David's. He brought that in, and it's awesome.
It's
real.
It's a vibranium and adamantium blend.
Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah, he traded in his life savings for it, but it was well worth it. He signed away his firstborn child for that as well.
Yeah.
It's alright. I can use that as a walk.
Did you guys see that? I'm just thinking on the topic of cosplay. Did you see there's a news article where a guy dressed up as Deadpool went to Blacktown Station. He had like
Oh, yeah.
I heard about that.
he had like the guns and the sword
And the
and,
cops are
everything,
called, right?
Yeah.
and they call him. He was just selling cupcakes or something,
Yeah.
but as Deadpool.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh man, why go to Blacktown with guns and knives and swords and stuff and not expect like, why would you not expect
Because
to
he
get
had
arrested?
he had like replica Uzis and
Yeah.
stuff. Because Deadpool holds like some machine guns, right?
Yeah.
Wasn't it
he's
for
an
like
assassin.
his daughter's school thing?
Yeah, he was going around
Yeah.
selling things for charity or something.
That's
And it was like a
hilarious.
costume themed.
Did you hear about the guy who got pulled over speeding in a Lamborghini? Like he was dressed as Batman. Did you hear about that?
No.
He got pulled over by the cops, and he got out of the car, and it was Batman in full like Dark Knight costume, and the cops pulled him over, and they thought it was so hilarious, and they just started to take selfies with him.
Yeah.
And they said, "What are you doing?" Is I'm going to the children's hospital to like,
Entertain the kids, yeah.
kids, and they let him off. They just let him go, but they were taking selfies with him, and everything. It was hilarious.
So there's the tip, kids. If you want to get out of a speeding ticket,
Yeah, dress up
Where-
as a
yeah.
superhero. Yeah,
Batman.
but yeah, I think that's a good place to wrap up this thing. We've been rambling on for quite a while, so yeah. So thank you guys for coming in and
Thank you, Samson.
and having a chat with me about
Yeah.
comic balls and all things geeky. Did I say balls? I said
Yes,
balls.
yes, you
Comic
said
books,
balls.
comic books, and all things geeky.
Freudian slip.
Yes.
All right. All right. Thanks, guys. I'll see you later.
All right.
Gee.
Peace.
Bye.